and welcome to the podcast today. It's 4:25. Happy to have you here with us. You've been married for a little over a week.
I know it.
How does it feel?
It feels good. A lot of it doesn't feel any different. It's just normal. There's also mixed in with that some relief that the wedding part's over with and the stress of paying for it and all of that. And then also a little bit of sadness that the wedding part is over with. I'm never going to have that again. We're now married.
Anniversaries.
I suppose, but you dream of your wedding and what it's going to be like, and now it's come and gone is also mixed in there. But Thomas and I are good. We're having fun.
Is that your we have marital sex wink?
Ask my neighbors. I don't know.
You mean your mom? I can ask can your mom?
She is 3 doors down. She's in a different building, so she would not.
I'm curious. I wonder if other people who have gotten married have that same sense of just a little bit of sadness because now that it's over.
I was surprised by that. I was surprised at feeling a little bit. I think also my social media is because I got a lot of my ideas and stuff from social media. So my social media is still full of wedding content. My algorithm.
It's still giving you, you haven't gotten married?
It's still all wedding content. So I'm seeing it and I'm a little sad. Leading up to the wedding, I was so sick of seeing it because I didn't want to think about it anymore. And now that it's over, I'm that's over with.
On a scale of 100%, what are the percentages of relief and sadness?
85% relief.
Okay, so it's a little bit of sadness. It's not a lot. It's not overwhelming.
Just a little pinch, a little dash.
But everything has really been mostly the same because it's not like you moved into a new house. It's not like you're moving out of this tiny little place.
No, but now I'm on the apps looking because I know we have our down payment ready. Even though we're not going to go looking until the first of the year, I'm on the apps just seeing how things are going, how things are staying on the market longer than they were.
They are.
Which I love. There's some homes that I love. I don't know what my student loan situation is going to be. I also had a little bit of bump in pay, which we'll be able to talk about another day, not today, but we will be able to officially talk about it soon. And I am curious, I'm excited. I'm excited what the next 2023 is going to bring for us.
Then I won't tell you about the next time an interest rate hike comes out.
Shut up. Shut up. Right now.
I'm sorry. That's the reality, though. I'm sure you've seen the same calculus that I've had. A home of this much down payment and this cost. It was $1,000 a month a year ago, and now it's $1,600 a month. So you can't win. The hits keep coming.
I could do more than $1,000 a month, though.
I know, but the point was of how much these massive investments have gone up, even with these tiny little rate hikes.
I hope that we're in that sweet spot. I hope that we are now in that sweet spot where the market has changed a little bit, but we are well enough and able enough to take it, to be able to deal with it and deal with it in a way that's not detrimental to us.
Maybe you'll find yourself a Goldilocks house, which I describe mine because I'm in Toledo.
I love yours.
But I'm geographically, I'm in a great spot.
You are.
Where I'm close enough to Springfield and Holland, but in Toledo, so the taxes are likely a bit lower, or maybe not. So maybe you can find the sweet spot as well, where you're in Toledo, but you're getting great value. And
we could be neighbors.
Rather than being a terribly poor person in Sylvania or Perrysburg.
We are house poor.
Yeah.
We could be neighbors.
Could be.
Love it.
I'll keep an eye out in the neighborhood. I am seeing, like you said, I am seeing more for sale signs going up and lingering there rather than the for sale sign goes up and then literally as they walk away, they rehang a sign that says sold.
There are, and there's also homes, at least in the apps, that have been on for maybe a couple weeks, and so the prices are starting to come down because they've been sitting.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to see that because there were some that I'm oh, this is kind of nice, but this is top of our budget, and it just keeps coming down. And from what I can see, there's no reasonable reason for it to come down other than it was overpriced and now the market's changing and so they're bringing it down.
Have you looked at that home on Bethany Street?
The expensive one?
Yeah.
Not other than when I looked to laugh,
okay.
to be in on the joke.
when I looked a week later, it was still at $320.
No.
But I want to keep checking once a week to see if that ridiculous home is still at that cost.
I wouldn't dare.
What else did I want to run by you? I had like a potpourri of things
to
hit you with. Oh, what was the ooh for?
I want to hear your things.
Oh, it's just like a potpourri of things. Did you follow any of the Guardians game on Saturday?
I didn't, but I heard about it. How many innings did they have?
15? Yeah.
Christ.
It just kept going and kept going and kept going. And they won very dramatically.
I heard, and I saw lots of pictures from people that were there. And the Browns.
Will you get into the Guardians now?
Of course.
I think they have, it's not impossible to think of them going to the World Series again.
I mean, I would be so excited. I don't tend to follow unless it's exciting, if that makes any sense. Like, I will turn on a Browns game once I see enough people talking about it for that day, like yesterday. And then I missed it all the way at the end. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I don't follow it religiously, but I do enjoy the Guardians.
I know. I slip sometimes too.
I want to say it, but I'm not gonna. Obviously, I'm gonna be
you'll slip up.
Supportive, and I'm gonna try not to. So I love to watch those games. I usually watch them at my brother's house. And the Browns game, the Cardiac Kids.
They could have won yesterday. They easily could have won that game.
I love seeing everybody fall out on the floor when they lose.
There's something comforting. I mean, I never begrudge anybody that lives in this area for having found a new team, because for the majority of your life, both teams have been pretty garbage.
Right.
The Browns had pockets of good teams in the 80s, but were disappointing that they could never get past John Elway. Mm-hmm. But I never begrudge anybody if they're like, I'm a Vikings fan, or that they wouldn't I'm a Buccaneers fan, because your teams here stink. And I think there's got to be some level of comfort on a Sunday like yesterday where both teams lose, the Lions and Browns.
Yes. Yeah, I would say so.
The other thing I wanted to get to, can you think of an intersection where you regularly drive and people constantly run the light?
Douglas and Central.
All right, let me envision that. Central. Okay, so right near the Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Yep. Like if you're coming down Douglas and you're turning left on Central, coming down Douglas towards the highway, and you're turning left on Central, because I take that a lot to go to work, go to the main office.
Got it.
I see people run that light all the time.
From Douglas going left up Central, towards Dunkin' Donuts, that
correct.
Direction?
Yeah.
Got it.
And then probably Central and Monroe, right by ProMedica.
Okay.
And then all the time in the Perrysburg area, turning on to 75 south from Route 20, right by Harley Davidson. They run that all the time.
Is the Douglas and Central one, is that an arrow that
There's
turns?
An arrow, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I bring this up because every day I cross Airport and Reynolds. I'm coming from where I live, and I'm going
that's a big
east.
One. Mm-hmm.
East on Airport across Reynolds. And cars that are coming the other direction, there's a left turn light. So they would turn from Airport to go towards Urban Air and down that way. There is a stream of vehicles that go through what at least is a yellow, if not a red on that turn. And you can call me a terrible driver. I don't think it's that unsafe. I'm not out of control. But when I get green, I'm going. Now, I know that cars are still making that left turn.
I do that. Your fault.
I had this, and look, I had this one dude stare me down as he was making that left, almost as if I was the one running the light. How dare I go through that green? Now, I'm not going to hit anybody, and it would be very unlikely that somebody would hit me. You
just want to make them sweat.
Yes,
I do that all the time.
I'm imposing my citizen traffic concern.
You know where I do that the most? Because I do it all the time, and I don't care who wants to judge me for being irresponsible. If this is even, well, you tell me if you think this is irresponsible. When I am merging onto the highway, right? I'm merging onto the highway, and there's a car on the highway already in the merge lane. Okay. And you were trying to speed up so that I don't get in, right? But you're not speeding up fast enough. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to continue to merge as if you were in my blind spot and I couldn't see you. Okay. And force you to either move over or slow the hell down.
That's far more dangerous than what I'm doing.
Oh, stop it.
You're going at high speeds.
Now, I hate it.
I will do the opposite. as much as I just made myself out to be a jerk on the roads, I'm actually like, because I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah, same.
And if I had a dash cam video, I could literally just count the cars. Like sometimes the cars making that left, it's not one, it's not two. I've seen up to like 3 vehicles go through it before, but rather.
Burn in Airport too. They go through it, like coming down Airport, turning onto Burn, turning left onto Burn, going towards like Hill Avenue. They do it all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's a terrible light. Like,
there's accidents all the time.
I think we had talked about this once before.
Yes, we did.
But I just saw it again recently. I believe that intersection is going to get redone, and they're gonna make it more traversable. I also think there's a Dunkin' Donuts coming to that corner.
No, where the rallies was.
And I think what they're doing next to it, I read, is that there's a gas station coming.
That Dunkin' Donuts, why that Circle K is gigantic, and there's a stop and go right there. The Dunkin' Donuts line is going to be out into the road. Yeah, it's going to be like Chick-fil-A.
It could be, but I'm hoping with the traffic adjustments, it will make it easier. Because one thing that's got to stop, and I don't see a lot of people do it, but I know that some people will, when they make lefts coming, like if you're coming out of the Circle K, on the airport side, and you're trying to make a left, you're going across incoming traffic.
Yep.
I think they're going to put dividers up so you can't do that anymore.
They should. They should. I mean, I'd be in favor of that. If I'm I'd never go to that Circle K. I actually always go to the stop and go because it's easier for me to come out of there because Thomas works right there. So I'm in that area all the time. Whatever. I mean, that area is ranked like one of the most dangerous intersections in the state. So for as much as I travel it, and for as dangerous as it is, I've only ever seen one accident there. I didn't see the accident, but like just a little bit below the rallies on Airport, a car was upside down. So I was fairly certain there was an accident. We might have saw that, yeah. Honestly, though, when my car was having a difficult time the last few weeks, it was like kind of starting to break down in that intersection, and I was visibly sweating. Like my life was flashing before my eyes because I knew people are going to be rude to me and honk the horn as if I'm going slow on purpose and or hit me because they're not paying attention. But I'm with you. Like I can be kind of petty. Maybe it is more dangerous, but I can drive petty sometimes too, and I like totally act like I don't know what's going on. I'm oblivious. You're doing something dumb, and I'm going to act oblivious so that I don't correct my driving because you want to do something dumb.
I take the oblivious tack as well.
All the time.
Speaking of this, let me do a quick traffic report. Accident on 475 southbound around Airport is now clear. Just volume with construction there. That's your Cumulus Toledo right now traffic. Going back to the merge thing. So I do the opposite. I give somebody who is merging, like what you talked about, I give them the opportunity to cleanly merge. If you can't cohesively take advantage of that, as we're both like, as you're running out of road, I'm not. Like I will adjust my speed so you can get in, but if you don't take advantage of that,
as you should. I'm talking about the people that don't adjust their speed.
Right.
Like they don't, or they adjust their speed to be an asshole, like, and make me, you know what I mean? Like they're like, nope, I'm not going to let you in. Nope, not letting you in. Those are the ones that I will just look the other way and act like they're in my blind spot because I'm merging. It's like if you're in the merge lane, then you have to cooperate with the drivers that are going to be merging. And if you don't want to, get in the middle lane.
It's teamwork.
You know, the only time I have trouble with the merge lanes is when I'm driving through Detroit, like because you have to speed up to such a speed to get onto the highways, especially like 696 or something.
Yeah.
And the merges are so short. I'm just never in those merge lanes until I'm ready to get off the highway. I just can't do it.
It's a race like on the Lodge
totally
and 696 and parts of 75 in Detroit are always jammed up with all kinds of traffic where the roads are beaten up. And 696 in the Lodge can be raceways. What was the other thing I wanted to get to before we did that? When it comes to every morning I wake up now, someone else has shared another candy corn thing with me. I'm kind of ready for it to be over.
Good. It's your fault. You did it to yourself.
I know. You know what? You
did it to yourself.
I almost want to say the greatest trick that ever pulled was actually making you think he likes candy corn.
You do like candy corn.
I do like candy corn.
Creep. I'll make you a candy corn cake.
Let me the people that keep sharing the candy corn like chocolate chip cookies, that looks good.
Oh. The cookies don't even look cooked all the way through. Like there's no brown. Don't they look? They look undercooked.
I have always preferred chewy cookies. Like was it chips?
Not even with a little bit of crisp.
Nope.
Not even with a little bit of under crisp or something.
I like most of my foods. French fries, pizza's a little overcooked. But when it comes to cookies, I think it was the red bag and the blue bag for Chips Ahoy. Red was chewy. And when my mom came home with that, it was like Hanukkah.
I don't mind chewy, but I don't like an undercooked cookie. Like I like it to be chewy, but it can't be like undercooked. Like as if it's like you know how a cookie is cooked because it's formed, right? But if I'm holding a cookie and it's starting to fall apart, that's undercooked in my opinion.
What about if, like, say there's chocolate chips? If it's gooey?
I don't like too much chocolate either, so because like too much sugar gives me acid reflux. How old am I again?
30.
Don't ask.
So with strong food opinions, I came across a story today, and I guess it was out last month. And it made me think of that there are strong opinions for this restaurant as well, this fast food place. White Castle is going to have White Castle Bites, which look like pizza rolls, but one's hamburger, one's cheeseburger. White Castle evokes some very strong opinions in people.
What do they even exist anymore? It's like
Not here.
Kmart. It's like Kmart trying to say, hey, come get the Kmart special. Like, get a $5 grab bag, anything you want. And it's like they're advertising it in Toledo, and it's like, is there even a Kmart still here?
Well, it was a national thing.
Meh.
Just one of those places that we don't have here. But
How
I
many
know
White Castles are there left?
I bet you there's, especially in Detroit, they're connected to Church's Chicken, aren't they?
I have never seen a White Castle in Detroit.
Really?
And I'm in Detroit all the time.
Okay, I'm curious how many White Castles are left, though. Do you dislike White Castle?
I don't even remember ever having it. I think I disliked it so much the one time that I've never gone to it since. Like I'm a snob.
Again, it's people have strong opinions about White Castle.
Definitely, I'm a snob about it.
And it was a great alternative to like after bar Taco Bell visits when you can just hit White Castle and get like whatever they call it, the 4-pack or the 8-pack.
No, I'll just go without, and I'll have an empty stomach instead.
There was a list that came out today, and I think most lists, like I read some really interesting study stories over the weekend. And I hate these stories because there's a million of them. But one said, did you know that if you pet your dog, you'll feel better afterwards?
Yes.
The other one said, if you walk an extra 2,000 steps a day, you'll likely have better heart health.
Yes.
Like common sense stuff. Mm-hmm. So I avoid these things. But this one was kind of interesting. It's from, hold on, what's the name of the website?
Things you need to know.
No. It was like hang on, I'm pulling it up. But while I pull this up, think of the best restaurants in Toledo proper.
Okay.
birchrestaurant.com. I don't know what that is. Some online entity. The 13 best restaurants, and this is not an old list. It says it was updated today. Mm-hmm. 13 best restaurants in Toledo. I think everybody sleeps on number 3. But I'm going to go down this list for you, and you can give me a quick thought on them, okay?
Okay.
And I don't know how they came up with 13, but here we are. Home Slice, 13.
It needs to be 52.
I don't disagree. We've had our Home Slice discussions. The Dirty Bird.
Oh, I like that. Good.
Number 11, Mommy Bay Brewing Company, which used to be Mutt's.
Haven't had it in ages. I couldn't tell you if I liked it or not.
Always love Mutt's. I don't know much about the new one. Fowl and Fodder at 10.
Ooh, needs to be up in the 6 at least.
Best chicken and waffles in the area.
So good. It's phenomenal chicken and waffles. Well done to them.
Number 9, Paco's.
No, sorry.
It's got to be there just like for history.
Yeah, I guess so.
Number 8, Rosie's.
Never had it.
Rosie's is really good.
I should go there one day.
Number 7, Bar 145.
Okay.
Number 6, Grumpy's.
Ooh, Grumpy's.
Interesting that a breakfast lunch only place made it.
Although the original sub shop should also be there. I consider them and Grumpy's the same.
Really?
I love the original sub shop.
But it's a sub shop.
So is Grumpy's. It's a sandwich place, ain't it?
Yeah, but they I think they're.
Ain't it?
What is it? The garbage salad is the go-to, is the get.
I don't eat it.
Number 5, Registry.
Never had it.
Very good.
We need to go places.
Number 4, Mancy's Italian.
Love Mancy's Italian.
Did you and Thomas have your first date there?
That was Mancy's Steakhouse, but we did have a Valentine's Day date at Mancy's Italian, and I liked it better.
Oh, that's the one on Monroe, right?
Yeah, Mancy's Italian is on Monroe.
Okay. Number 3. I'm going to come back to number 3 to see if you can guess it. Because I've never heard anybody say a bad word about it, and I think it's completely slept on. So, number 2 is The Heights.
Okay.
Maybe, maybe not.
I feel like they need more choices. Their menu, I've spent a fair amount of time at the Heights in the last 60 days, and I'd like to see more choices on their menu.
Number 1, Final Cut.
Never been. Should I go? Goodness. Send this to me so I can go to these places. So, what do I think number 3 is?
Well, hold on. My thought on Final Cut. I haven't had it since I moved here, but when I moved here, I went several times in 1 year, and it was up there with some of the best steakhouses I've eaten at. So
how
like
much
the
would I
Ruth's Chris
spend
and
if I went? Like,
For
could
you,
I get
$150?
Okay, so I could get a meal for like $60.
Yes. Well, your entree's going to be 40s or 50s. Then you're going to do your family style side. Mm-hmm. It's $150 for you and Thomas.
Okay.
Number 3, it's an Asian place.
Oh.
It's not Kengo.
And it's slept on?
Yes.
Oh, and it's Asian?
Yeah.
It's not Kango. I have it right on the tip. Is it Jingshuan?
No. That's the place on Sylvania, though, right?
Secor in Sylvania.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, they're good. Where is it located? Give me a hint.
It's right near me, actually. It's not a divey place. Exactly. You probably passed it a ton. Koreana.
Oh, the Korean place.
Yeah.
Very cute. Very good. Why isn't Manhattan's on there? Why isn't I was thinking you were going to say Emma Osteria or something like slept on. I feel like they're slept on. Manhattan's for sure. Although we went to Manhattan's for their Sunday brunch the other day. Mm-hmm. I felt awful. It was $25 a person.
Inflationary times, my friend.
I was like, Mom and I were going, and she wanted to pay for it, and I was like, let's go to Manhattan's because they have a really good brunch. And I felt so bad that the bill ended up being over $50, and we had literally had like one plate, because our appetites aren't the biggest. But anyway,
yeah, if you're going to a buffet,
Mom.
You better get your money's worth.
Yeah.
Hold on, I pulled up the Final Cut. Let's see, Final Cut. I'm curious to see what their entree prices are like now.
Because I feel like I have wanted to go out to dinner with Thomas for a while now, and it's like we never have time. So he ended up having to work this past Saturday, and like by the time Sunday came around, like after he was done like relaxing from working so much, it was just like we didn't really get to do anything. And I want to go. I still haven't seen the Woman King. I want to go somewhere and have a nice steak. We haven't done any of that. Makes me mad.
How about not necessarily steak, but what's the nice Asian place that people like at Fallen Timbers?
Oh, the national place?
Yeah.
P.F. Chang's.
Yeah, that place.
No,
okay.
I'm a Chinese food snob. I can't do that.
It's good.
Too many good local places.
Fair enough. There was no menu for Final Cut, but I'm curious if like steaks now are like in the 60s because
it looks good though.
Yeah, it really is. Manhattan's is a great spot. Manhattan has changed a lot.
Has changed a lot.
And I don't mean
in a good way though.
Right. I don't mean it in a bad way because when I first got here, it was it was fine dining.
Yeah.
And then it kind of changed over the years where it worked a little bit of everything in. Mm-hmm. So not bad at all. But hey, there was 13 slots. There's plenty of good restaurants on there. We could easily kick Home Slice off, right?
Yes, for Manhattan's.
Okay, now the serious thing. I find myself quite ambivalent about the shooting that took place at Whitmer the other night.
How so?
First of all, that whole Alexis corridor does not get the heat that it does for all the bad things that happen on that corridor.
Car accidents, all of that.
The guy that just got thrown in the jail for he ran somebody down. Mm-hmm. Just Thursday there was a shooting at Talmadge and Alexis. Like there's a lot of not great stuff that happens on that corridor.
There's a girl on my Facebook page that was sharing video of her. She parked her car somewhere and left the keys in the car because she was only popping in for a second and somebody robbed her, stole her car. And she hopped on the hood and it threw her off in the middle of the road, I think in that area. So,
another quick traffic report. We'll come right back to that.
Okay.
One accident to pass along. It's Central at McCord, an already busy intersection. Other than that, we have slow going in our usual construction spots. That's your Cumulus Toledo right now traffic. I find myself ambivalent. I guess the better word is numb. I guess I also go, I'm surprised it took that long for something to happen. I have seen, there was something, I think, in Kalamazoo recently as well. There was a shooting at a high school practice in Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, the gun violence, I guess I'm saying, my point is, with the uptick in gun violence, it's not surprising that it has spread to schools, to school football games and whatnot, where you have large groups of people congregating.
There was a shooting at a Columbus area high school this weekend, or school game this last weekend as well. So there was like multiple in the state. I don't know, like this made national news that I know of.
I think
like
so.
It did, I don't know why, other than maybe because it was on video, so they saw everybody running, and the images of the fathers like literally putting their kids on the floor and putting their bodies over their kids was really tragic and dramatic. And when I was watching some of the video, I could hear, like, my ears tuned into one particular person, and I could hear them desperately screaming for their child or for their loved one or something, like, where are you, where are you? And then there was obviously people I know who have kids that were at that game that were then sharing about it later that evening. So it was pretty tragic and dramatic for the community in a way that, like, doesn't happen until it happens. Like, you don't even think about it until it happens.
Yep. Thankfully, looks like the Whitmer student will be okay. Everybody will be okay. No one killed. It is. I'm not trying to diminish how terrifying it is. I'm just saying that, like, it has spread, especially in places like here, and as I just mentioned, Philadelphia, where gun violence is higher than it's ever been. It's not surprising that it spread to these places. And I believe there's also 16 police officers there. I don't know if that's a lot for a Friday night.
Sounds like it to me.
Or it does sound like a lot. This is just like somebody was looking for somebody else, and they shot the place up. And again, thankfully, it wasn't worse than this.
But I feel like we are in, I don't know, maybe, I'm sure you'll call me dramatic for this, but we're kind of in like a Gotham-like space with the gun violence, because another thing that happened, I think either this week or this weekend, is the young men that were on trial for shooting that young girl who was in the car over by Old West End. Yeah. Got killed this weekend. So one of the boys, I think.
I think it was a woman who was shot last week who was one of the witnesses. There's a lot.
Okay, so I'll need to read that up again, because from what I read, and I only read it quickly, it sounded like one of the suspects that was on trial was murdered.
I think they were at least shot. A woman, right?
I don't think so. I don't know if it was was shot, and that, I mean, these are happening in other cities, because when I was home in Cleveland for prepping for the wedding, there was a conversation about a shooting that happened in Columbus where a 30-year-old woman was paralyzed and lost from the neck down, like lost any functioning from the neck down, and the man that witnessed it went and took care of the, that I know of, I shouldn't really say that, but it's just like, I'm like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Like, it's just talked about everywhere at all times.
Rightly so. It's like Bethany and I talked about, whether it was the Uvalde shooting or whatever. I would never begrudge any parent who has a school-age child from being terrified, even though the chances of something happening are microscopic. Mm-hmm. Because if it does happen, the death that can come from it is hard to grasp. It
is still the leading cause of death for them, though.
Kids of that age, I think it's right near accidents, that's for sure.
No, it's like number one. It's surpassed accidents and suicides.
It's terrifying. I get it. And I guess at this point, you would have to come up with some kind of place where I would be stunned that gun violence made its way to, especially here in this area. Mm-hmm. Because it's just, things are at a pitch right now. And I know, from that fear and that terror, you want it stopped immediately. Mm-hmm. We've had this discussion for 2 years now, and I don't know if we ever find out about things being immediately stopped. I know the police have released the reports. I think there's been like 3 targeted things where they collected guns and all these other things. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that stuff is successful or not. They don't talk about it until they release the information, because the projects are ongoing. But the ways that things will stop, like, you are going to stop that guy from whatever he did on Friday night, like, unless he got picked up somewhere for whatever it was. The way we stop this is what we've talked about all along: the after-school programs, libraries, mental health in schools, which is all happening now. Unfortunately, that stuff will not bear fruit till down the line where you see a kid and said, hey, my older brother turned to gun violence and crime. He's in prison, but I didn't because I had these opportunities.
Right. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to point out the youth because it's still a lot of the gun violence is statistically done by youth at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's hard to point out which ones have given up on life already and which ones haven't. And those that have given up on their lives and any future of their lives are the ones that are participating in some of this behavior and not giving a shit about anybody else around them. And that's what's so scary.
And when I saw that there were 16 police there, I obviously thought, is that a lot? Is that a little? Would this person have even cared if they knew that there were that many? Because to your point, like, it's total desperation.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's, somebody would say it's complete and total lawlessness. It's not, because there is law. And obviously, police chief and others have done their best here. But when somebody doesn't care, you could put 100 police officers out there and they're still going to go through with it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's scary.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Scary.
That's it. That's all I got.
Nothing else, huh? We're leaving on that note.
Well, I wanted to do that last because there were some other things that would be... That's a dark way to start things, and we did too much of that over the last 2 years.
Well, I won't be back until next week.
Yes, what are you going to do in Texas?
I am going to a conference on crisis alternatives, like crisis work, psychiatric crisis stuff.
Where in Texas?
Austin. So I fly out tomorrow. I haven't packed, but I'm happy that kind of my work day is done. We've got this done, and so now I can just go home and focus on getting out and getting there.
What's Thomas going to do while you're away?
Celebrate, probably. He loves his alone time. I don't know what that says about me. The poor dogs are as anxious as can be, but he loves his alone time. So he is going, I'm sure I'm going to cook him dinner tonight that should last a couple days. So.
Will your mom go over and check on the dogs?
No, they'll be fine.
They'll be good all day?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Those are some resilient dogs.
And you're back when?
Thursday night, so I'm back to work Friday. Like, we're ready to go. I have we're going to talk about some stuff next week, too, because I need some feedback.
What do you mean? In what regards?
Just stuff.
Like how to handle your neighbors who are tired of you having sex too loud?
No. I don't think they can hear me.
You don't know that. Okay. All right. Good visit. Bye.